The Town have a date with the league leaders Sunderland at Kenilworth Road under the floodlights on Wednesday evening. Alongside me to preview the game, I've got the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, as memories fade of a glorious afternoon, memories of a wonderful, wonderful night start to loom on the horizon.
Yeah, it's almost like the greatest hits of the last championship season, isn't it?
It is indeed. We will reflect and review on the middle game of the three straight after this intro.
For me, it's the people and the spirit of the people as well.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the longest running Luton Town podcast, which is shortlisted for the Best Football League podcast in this year's Football Content Awards. This season, we're sponsored by Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned before the intro, we are previewing Luton Town v Sunderland Wednesday evening. Tickets are still available at the time of recording. But if you haven't got a ticket to the game or you can't make the game, Sky Sports Plus is the channel to watch this one on. Of course, Jimbo, I mentioned before the intro that memories may slowly start to be fading from that gorgeous afternoon on Saturday against that lot, but only because this fixture throws up just as many magical memories from the last time it took place.
Absolutely. Two of my favourite ever Kenilworth Road memories were against Watford last time around and Sunderland in the playoff semi-second leg. So let's hope that since the first game went okay at the weekend on Saturday, that this one can go equally as good. It's going to be very tough.
It is. Yep. Right, so let's get straight to it. It's not going to be the same atmosphere as the last time Sunderland were here because it's not a playoff semi-final with all the jeopardy and everything that comes along with it. But if you are in the Luton end on Wednesday night, make sure those magical lights have an impact on the atmosphere because, as we're going to hear shortly from Rob, the boys are going to need every single decibel that we can get. So make sure your voices are recovered from Saturday and you're ready to go again on Wednesday night because this lot are good. This Sunderland lot, they are good and they do merit an awful lot of respect, but we are Luton and we can intimidate them. There's a hell of a lot of young players in their side. We'll go through a couple of them in a minute. But if we can get the Kenny rocking under the lights and give the boys the platform to perform on again, to give them the best chance of trying to replicate that performance that they gave us on Saturday, we'll be fine. But this is going to be a tough game. They're not going to come down here and shy away like the Scummers did. They won't do that. They're top of the table for a reason. Quite how they lost to the Scummers, I don't know. It's a good effort in itself, and hopefully that's an omen. Hopefully there's a direct form guide there and all is well. But the boys on the pitch are going to need us to do our thing off the pitch, arguably even more than Saturday.
Yeah, but I think that Saturday sets everybody in a good mood, doesn't they? And hopefully that can continue from the stands. It showed, doesn't it, what a good performance of a team, but also the good performance of the fans, put them together and you get Saturday's result. So that shows you that it's almost a blueprint, really, isn't it, for what you can achieve. And I make you right. You're probably not going to get exactly the same fever pitch against Sunderland because it's not Derby Day, but you've said it all along. If you get 2 wins, up the table you go, and this is a massive, massive opportunity.
Yep, we're recording this before Tuesday's games, so that we can get this out to you as much notice as we possibly can. As we sit here right now, if Luton win this game and the other results go our way, we can finish the night in the top half of the table. I mean, that was dream world 4 days ago, wasn't it? When we went into the Watford game 21st, and everyone was like, "Oh, we're in a relegation battle," which was nonsense. We weren't. We were just in a bad run of form. But all of a sudden, you win this game and you go to Coventry, bearing in mind that we're the first game to kick off on Saturday, being 12:30 kickoff. You go to Coventry and the playoffs are in sight. If you win this game and the other results have gone our way, it's like I mean, look, I say it all the time, but this is the week that points out perfectly what I continually say about a 2-result league.
Yeah, and when I said greatest hits in the intro, it literally is, because Watford and Sunderland were the two best days at the Kenny, two of the best days at the Kenny I've ever had, and then Coventry with the playoff final. So it's in a very short space of time. You've got that sense of everybody does it as a football fan, don't they? That sort of red rose-tinted spectacled nostalgia that you look forward to and hope that you can replicate.
But I don't think it's just fans who do that, because there's an awful lot of the squad that's going out into battle on Wednesday and Saturday who were here, who will have their own same special memories from that night. And I mean, how can you forget Wembley? If you were at Wembley that day, if you played at Wembley that day, you'll never ever forget it. Just because the surroundings are different, it's not going to revoke those memories of the last time, because it was the last time we've played these three sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking about Sunderland, that was a hell of an atmosphere. Oof. I mean, if somebody wants to get on the blower to the Bangor boys from Bury Park and get those drums banging, because we need, if we can replicate that night, wow, it's going to be a hell of an evening.
Let's pay respect to our opposition then. That Sunderland side that came here, what would it be, 17 months ago now, we knew we could overpower with our physicality. They were terrible at defending set pieces. They were, really, really, really bad. And so it proved, because both the goals came via that manner. This lot, not quite the case. They've put Chris Mepham, former Bournemouth defender, into the heart of their defence. They're a little bit stronger there. Where I do think we can get at them, though, they are so young. I mean, they've got Jude Bellingham's brother in their side, Joe Bellingham, who's a big threat. Let's make no mistake about that. Not to the levels of his brother, but there aren't many footballers on the planet who are a threat to that level. But he's 19 years old. He's one of the central midfielders. Chris Riggs, another central midfielder. They talk a lot about him. 17 years old, is already playing above himself in England age groups. I think he's in the same age group team as Zach Nelson, which is the under-20s. Is that right?
Elite men's squad, yeah. I think Riggs is also one of the youngest players to 30 games, I think, as well. 17 and change.
But that's 17 and 19 in the centre of the park. They've got a winger who's 21. They've got two defenders who are 22 and the centre forward who's 24. This is a young side who won't have experienced a Kenilworth Road atmosphere unless they were involved in that side when they come down here last time, and not many of them were. They wouldn't have experienced Kenilworth Road at its frantic fever pitch. If we can get it to that levels, then one or two of them might shy away a little bit, and that might just give us the edge on them.
Yeah, or somewhere even near. I mean, I think it'd be hard pushed to. I'd love it. I'd love that to happen, for the atmosphere to be like that, and it will scare a lot. It will scare like seasoned professionals. It frighten the life out of Watford. Make no mistake. So you never know. On the flip side, I suppose what that does with a young side that are in a rich vein of form, it can make them fearless, can it? So there's that to contend with as well. And, they're top of the league. They're going to be flying for confidence. So, it can be a double-edged sword, that, I think.
Yep, they are top of the league. A little bit of fortune to their recent results. I mean, the Leeds keeper basically jumped out of the way of the equaliser before the international break that Sunderland scored, and then Sunderland's winner on Sunday. I mean, the referee has literally wiped out the whole player just as he's about to go and shoot at goal. To be fair to the fella, the centre forward, the French guy whose name eludes me at this minute, he's gone straight past Cody Dramé like he's not there, and we know from the last time they were here just how good he is as a defender, and he's dinked the ball over the top. They're a side with pace. That's one potential issue. But let's pick out some threats. Bellingham is just the name, just the very name. But he is very good. He's not as good as his brother, of course he's not, but he might be in time. He's 2-3 years younger than him, but he's got a shot from distance that can connect. He's a good passer of the ball, and much like his brother, he's a very good athlete. Someone, in the same fashion that we kept check for Tadze quiet at the weekend, someone's going to have to make sure they know where he is at all times, because he could cause some damage at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, unfortunately, that someone, I'd rather it be Reece Burke, in the same way that he took care of the Georgian at the weekend. But he's not going to play, is he? Let's be honest. It's going to be some miracle if he's not. you can hold on to these sort of little slivers, whispers of hope, if you like, because he did walk around the pitch. He looked okay, and he seemed relatively happy on the tunnel cam when they came in. But everybody was bloody happy. They'd just absolutely whacked Watford,
and adrenaline would still have been running, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, and I mean, you don't need a groin to walk around, but you do need it to chase after Joe Bellingham. So
you can have mine. There's no use to man or beast, but I've got two that he's more than welcome to if it gets him on the pitch. Yeah, we need to keep Bellingham quiet. Not so young, but mighty good. I remember in pre-season we were talking about him potentially coming to Luton as a pipe dream of one of those silly transfer rumours. Was Patrick Roberts. Never ever coming.
Never on the guards, never.
But now that he hasn't, we need to make sure we keep tabs on him because he is bloody good. He has got some serious quality about him.
Yeah, I've always liked the look of him. Like, you know, when I heard about that, I was like, wow. I allowed myself about 10 seconds to think, it'd be great to see him in a hat shirt. That was never, ever, ever, ever in a million years and twice on Sundays ever going to happen. But the kid can play. He's a playmaker, and he's in a really great run of form, as they all are at the moment. But if you allow him to play, he'll ruin you, really. So in very much the same way, to a lesser degree, of course, when we talked about the Pompey game earlier in the season, don't let Marlon Pack play. You can't let this guy play either.
No, you can't. If you're a Sunderland fan watching this for the first time, we're not picking out your best threats here, right? We're picking out your threats which may well be the most danger to the way that Luton's set up. We know the kind of style of player that causes Luton problems. So yeah, you're probably well within your rights to come at us that there's a bigger threat than Patrick Roberts and a bigger threat than Bellingham and even Rigg, but not so much that's going to be a threat to the way that we play. One person who could be, though, when they talk about best left backs in the Championship, of course they get it wrong because they don't talk about Alfie Doughty. They do talk about Dennis Serkin, who has been there for a long time. He played against us 2 years ago. He'll know what it's all about. His attacking numbers from left back are very, very good. He'll go into midfield. He basically plays as a left winger when they attack. This is a side that very, very quickly transition into a 3-2-5 formation when they attack. Victor Moses is going to have to make sure he's top of his game defensively and do as much as he can, getting him to go the other way so that we can keep him as far away from our goal as possible.
He is, but if he can do what he did against Watford, because I didn't think Victor Moses could defend like he did
we didn't really make enough of it, did we? But that's because we just know his class, and it didn't surprise us. Whereas the performances of a McGuinness and of a Holmes and of a Doughty from a defensive point of view did surprise us because the narrative was that they didn't have that in them. We knew that Victor Moses had got that in him. We just would rather see it at the other end.
Yeah, well, what you say that, but I didn't see that he had some of that dirty stuff in him, the really rough and tough stuff that that they thought probably he might have been a weak link there, playing as a right wing back, but they couldn't get past him. He was absolutely sensational in a defensive sense, and calm as you like as well. And when he got forward, he caused problems. So it's strange, isn't it? Because a couple of games ago, we're going, absolutely, we do not want to see Victor Moses as a right wing back. We want to see him going further forward, but he hasn't played in the teams that he played, the leagues he's played, and the national teams that he's played, and won trophies every single place he's gone. If he can't, take on an instruction and work to that, and obviously he didn't have a pre-season, so maybe that he was working his way into it as well. And I thought he was really good at the weekend, and he's going to have to be that good to take care of this bloke.
Yep. They're the three sort of Sunderland threats that we're most worried about. There is no guarantee that Rigg would play, is there? 17-year-old kid playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Generally, managers don't like that, do they? Burn out and all of that. There is actually, I can't remember what league it is, but there is actually a league where, is it Spain, isn't it? Yeah, Spain, because Lamine Yamal can't play every game for Barcelona because there's a limit to the amount of minutes in a year that teenagers can play.
Wow, is it? That's knowledge I didn't have. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, he's already been talked of as a superstar, isn't he? Well, rightly so. He's won the Euros, and let's hope this Rigg kid is nowhere near as good.
Absolutely that. Let's hope that he's getting his minutes managed and doesn't get on the pitch at all on Wednesday if he is good. At Luton, let's bring it back to Luton. Before we talk about Luton's team news, I suppose it's only right that we hear from the person who's going to be picking the team, because James caught up with him with Rob Edwards, that is, of course, after the game on Saturday. We're recording this before his press conference, but Rob was kind enough to give some thoughts as to the injured players on Saturday and how they could be, again, sort of 4 days out. Things might have changed, but this was his outlook on Saturday afternoon.
It's just a real challenge at the moment because we're having to, we lost the centre back at half time. We lost the centre back during the second half. We finished off with two wingers, really, at centre back. A young kid came on in JJ, who it's a big game for him to come into, like sort of almost out from the cold. It's ridiculous at the moment how we're having to manage it. It's hard, and we're going to be dealing with that again on Wednesday now. I'll do it when we've won because I don't want to do it when we've lost. But this is incredibly challenging at the moment. It has been since February, And again, we're going to have dealing with it on Wednesday. So, but what I said is whoever goes out there, that's the level, that's the intensity we've got to play at. And the one thing we know as well is our supporters are intelligent. They know there'll be challenges. They'll get the message. I don't then want to make excuses. Whoever goes out there has got to try and replicate that. And it'll be difficult at times because, we might have to put a square peg in a round hole. I think Tom Krause might be more illness. He was up all night, wasn't very well last night, so I thought his performance was really good. So I think maybe him might have been more illness. So hopefully he's okay. But Chongi, we're going to have to assess. Who else we lose? Berkey, I think he's groin. But he hasn't trained for 2 weeks. We didn't know if he was going to be fit to play. He had an injection and trained a little bit yesterday. Can't keep doing that.
He's had groin problems.
Yeah. So we'll see how he is.
Baptiste's not in the squad, is he?
Shanzo's just a bit of tightness, so hopefully he's available, but he certainly won't be fit, to start at the moment still, because obviously he was only 30 minutes against Sheffield a couple of weeks ago, wasn't he? So, yeah, it's just making sure that we don't then push him and break him. So fingers crossed for him.
Yeah, so that was Rob's immediate thoughts straight after the Watford win on Saturday. Pretty bleak picture, has to be said. Hopefully there's a bit more colour in that picture by the time 7:45 Wednesday night comes around. He didn't mention Tom Holmes. I don't think anyone wants to say it, but I think it's pretty obvious Tom Holmes went off with a head injury, which down the line can only be concussion, can't it? Because you just don't end up with a defence with 3 fullbacks, a right winger and a centre-back if you've got a perfectly good set. So I don't think Tom Holmes plays this game, and that would obviously rule him out of the Coventry game as well, in much the same way with Heath Chong. They didn't mention that he was concussed, but it was pretty bloody obvious.
Right, which is desperately sad for him because he was so impressive for that 45 minutes. But then when you listen to that and you hear that Reece Burke hasn't trained for 2 weeks, McGuinness got sent back from Republic of Ireland duty, didn't train at all before that. They were already playing with patched up defence, and that was the defenders they had available. Obviously, Mads Anderson, I was told before the game, is back on the grass, but is probably a week away. Bell's still coming back. Ted Mengi is 1 week into a 3-week layoff, so he's not going to be back. It's threadbare beyond belief again.
So do you still see us sticking to 3 at the back, even though we haven't got 3 to play at the back?
It's really risky in it against this lot. But then have they got enough time to affect the change with players that aren't bona fide central defenders? It's a really tricky one to get around there. So then it's a case of, well, then do you go with 2 either side, and who's that going to be? You've got Joe Johnson, who is a defender, and he did reasonably well against Watford when he came on, but this is a different proposition because Sunderland are flying, top of the league, and all the challenges that bring. And when obviously he did get his last start, was the first day of the season against Burnley, and well, everybody was well off, but he got caught out twice.
I mean, if he starts, I would imagine he starts left wing back, and they play Doughty left centre half the way that they finished on Saturday. Now that's not great because obviously Doughty's attacking periods of play would be really needed here, albeit his set pieces will probably be the most important factor, and obviously he can still deliver those from left centre half. But yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I think what it will probably be. I mean, he put Hashioka there against Watford, and Hashioka has played centre half before. He played it in the Premier League and he got spun around in circles by Haaland. Well, every bloody defender in the entire world forevermore would have that happen to them, and so that's no slight on him. But if you take the Watford performance, that was a centre half's performance, so maybe.
Yeah, I think he'll play right centre half, won't he? Obviously McGuinness central. It's just who plays the left centre half, assuming that we do stick with a back five, and I think we will do. Like you say, not much time to work on it. B, we've just defended really, really well with it. And it's the formation that we've coached for the last 2 years. So if you are putting square pegs in round holes, you're probably better to put them in a formation that everyone's been training to, rather than something that's new. So yeah, well, it has to be Doughty or Johnson, doesn't it? I don't, like you say, the Burnley game I think will stop them from putting. I think Johnson will be the left wing back, and Doughty left centre back. And if we can get Doughty out on the overlap in the Amari Bell sort of way that he does it, and get him up the pitch, then so much the better for it. Midfield three, the good news was it sounds like Tom Krause was only ill. Obviously, that's not good. I'm not saying I want you to be ill, Mr. Krause. Of course I don't. But with the injury situation the way it is, when I hear the words illness, I'm like, happy fucking days, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He can get over an illness rather quickly. You plough you with medicine or whatever it is that you need, and jobs are good. And, you know, broken foot, Rue Walters kind of style, you're not getting over that overnight. Sort of thing. He's another one, of course, on the injured list. That's a good thing. 4 days or whatever it is, even if he doesn't train. I mean, by the sound of that from Rob, no one trains anyway. So if he doesn't train in those 4 days, but he's good enough to put an hour's shift in, that'll be handy. Doesn't sound quite so positive for Chong though.
Everybody was dropping like flies in that crazy 15-minute period after the break against Watford, and he was one of them. And
he rivaled the Sheffield Wednesday fella at speed of getting off, didn't he? And the Sheffield Wednesday fella didn't move particularly quickly after he got sent off, did he? Not like Ogbono, who couldn't get out that tunnel quick enough on Saturday afternoon. Great teammate you are, son. Yeah. And also, we're going to have to do some sort of looking at Saturday. I know you take each game as it comes, but you know, you've still got to go away from home on Saturday with 11 players. You can't run everyone into the ground. And if Chong's just gone off and might be fit for Saturday, but isn't fit for Wednesday, well, sorry, but you're going to have to pencil him in for Saturday rather than Wednesday, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I think this seems to be something that Rob and the team have had to factor in for, 7-8 months now, because they're having to. It's so threadbare, and I was even thinking that before we press record on this podcast that I didn't get to ask it on Saturday because it was the euphoria of everything that happened. But when we looked at the team sheet and went, why isn't Nakamba on the bench? Maybe that was with a look ahead, because what have you got? If he knew Krause was ill in the build up. By the way, played fantastically for somebody that was ill, and maybe they took him off as a precaution. Baptiste, obviously, we've heard that he's not going to be from a starter at least. So rest Nakamba, who is another player that probably isn't training that much because his knee is still healing, essentially. Then that probably speaks to a point of you've just got to play a system that because Arthur ain't training because they're crocked to some degree or another, and then and that may be why that Marvellous was kept out, because it did seem a strange one at the time. It doesn't really matter now because it all worked out absolutely beautifully. But there's a lot of. There seems to still be a lot of problems with injuries, which we thought we were coming to an end of.
Yeah, maybe he knew Watford get battered everywhere they go, so he saved Marvellous for Wednesday, and it's fantastic foresight and forward thinking from Rob. And Marvellous is going to play here, of that I've absolutely no doubt. Marvellous potentially behind Krause and Clark, the midfield three that works so well in the first half against Oxford. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that. And then you're looking at Baptiste to come on for Marv for whatever he can give him, 20, 25 minutes or whatever. And then you'd look at Zach Nelson to come on for Krause if Krause is still unwell come Wednesday night and can't do the whole 90, then at least that can give you 15, 20, and you can make up the 290 minutes from those 4 players in that sort of situation. Or if it's not going too well and we need another attacking player, it could be Jacob Brown for Kraus or Pelly for Kraus rather than that. I mean, Pelly, to be fair, Pelly could have put himself into a starting position, couldn't he, with that cameo?
Yeah, no, he could have. He really impressed. It was reliable Pelly of old, not the guy that gave away passes galore in his previous outing. So that's a positive, and that could happen. And
he could also fit in at centre half if needed, couldn't he?
Exactly. This is what I was thinking on the day on Saturdays. It was going so badly in the defensive sense of people not of having to come off injured. I was thinking, who we got left on the bench? And it was like, well, Pelly he's grew up as a centre half, and before he became a midfielder.
It was getting that bad. I thought, Tim Krul, you're about 6'20". Can you come on and head a few balls away, son?
It was a bit like that, and I think the midfield it's still a tricky one to work out, but there are options. Pelly's one of them, and people might want to not hear this, but Corley Woodrow has done a decent job. If I wouldn't start him for sure, but if he needs to come on for 20 minutes and do a job, he will.
Yeah, if there was one person that came away from Bramwell Lane with their credit still intact, it was Corley Woodrow for absolute sure. Yeah, like you, I've no problem. Corley Woodrow coming on at any point. Of course, we don't know. We know that Morris is going to start. You don't drop a guy after that performance, but we don't know quite how much he's got in his legs in terms of 390s in. What would it be? 7 days, give or take. So you'd have thought I know he only did 65, but the intensity of his 65 was like 90 on Saturday, wasn't it?
He's been relatively robust though, hasn't he, Morrissey?
But you don't want him to go down again, do you? He's a key player.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a challenge when you talk about it like this. You can see why Rob was so exasperated, and he was. That interview.
He sounded stressed.
Yeah, I did it after the Watford game. He couldn't enjoy that whatsoever because of all that. Before the game, there was obviously the Ruel Waters situation where he's broken his foot and he might have been playing on it, which is terrible. But Bell's injured out, Mengi's injured. We didn't know if McGuinness had played, so he's had that problem beforehand, which is bad enough. And then in a game, in a 15-minute period, well, Holmes goes, John goes, Kraus goes, Reece Burke goes, and you're like, fucking hell, this is just never ending. And it's been like that for the entirety of 2024. So if he seems frustrated, he's got reason to be.
We need to get a feng shui expert into the dressing room or something and change the feng shui around and see if that works.
I don't think changing
you don't think
the sofas is going to do the job though.
Well, listen, I'll try anything right now, to be quite honest with you. Can't they all just take their legs off of each other and put together 4 decent ones so that we can have 4 working bodies and 4 useless ones? That would be mighty helpful, wouldn't it?
Dr. Frankenstein, that's not how that works,
Oh, well, if it's good enough for the films, it's good enough for me. Yeah, Morris and Adebayo are going to start up front here, aren't they? Jacob Brown will be back up, even though he scored, unless the midfield situation is really, really bad. Jacob Brown will probably be a backup. Corley Woodrow backup. Joe Taylor would be another backup. Further up the pitch, we've got options. We don't need to worry per se about that. It's just which combination he goes with in midfield. If he goes with Pelly, Kraus and Clark, for example, again, I've no problem with that. You'd kind of think that Marv would start one, miss one, in which case he's due to start this one, having started at Bramwell Lane previous to it. And then maybe Pelly comes on for him. I said Baptiste, but maybe Pelly for Marv. And then the front two. How do we hurt this Sunderland side? Well, they are better defending set pieces, but they're still not brilliant at it. And that's our strength, right? That is what we do. We stick the balls in the box. We've just scored from 2 of them. We know how to do it now. Let's try and do it again on Saturday. Not just set pieces in terms of corners, but if Eli or Morris can win a few cheap free kicks in and around the box that Doughty can put in, like for the second goal with Tom Lockyer in the playoff semi-final, Christ, it would be good to have him right now, wouldn't it? And that would be lovely to have Tom on the end of one of these set pieces. That's the primary way in, isn't it? Set pieces, when they come, make the very, very most of them, because we've got the targets there.
Well, yeah, we're up and running now with set pieces, isn't it? With two goals come along after peppering everybody's penalty area. Even in the games we lost, there was crosses galore. That's Luton's game, and that's what it's been set up to be. And Morris getting his head on one is a touch. We could do with Eli getting him. He had a couple, didn't he? A couple of games back that he should have scored, but you can't fault his performance against Watford. And there's that aspect as well, isn't it? They got the high press spot on against Watford, and it worked a treat. I don't think that Sunderland are going to be even in comparison with Watford in terms of how ponderous they were. But if anyone wants to not be quite at it and they want to pass it around the back, then that could be a bonus. My suspicion, though, when you've got players like Bellingham and Roberts in, that they can play through the lines a lot better.
Yeah, they can indeed. But for all Serkin's good going forward, Hull got in an awful lot in behind him, going the other way. And there isn't really a defensive midfielder there. As I said, they've got a young midfield and they all have their edge on the attacking rather than the defending. Or at least when I watched them against Hull, they might have been someone on the bench who can play that role slightly better. So Clark could get in behind, Moses could get in behind Serkin in particular, and Elijah against Watford, he was drifting out to the wings an awful lot as well, wasn't he?
Sometimes to the detriment of the crosses where he should have been in the middle. He wasn't quite where he should have
possibly, yeah, but I suppose when you've got Morris in there, it doesn't matter quite so much. But so if we can get in behind Serkin as well, down that right-hand side, particularly if it's Victor Moses who can get there because he's just got quality to burn.
I fancy Victor Moses to get past anybody, to be honest. He's got that much quality, and even if it's two players up against him, I fancy him to come out or get something. If it's not get a cross in, he can win a free kick or a set piece somewhere along the line. He's got that, and he's been doing that really well.
Yeah, that's another area. Set pieces and target down that right-hand side, particularly if Alfie is playing left centre-half. There's no point in targeting everything down the left-hand side. If Alfie's sort of further back, that's not to say that Joe Johnson hasn't got good delivery. Of course, he will have. He's probably going to need to focus more on his defensive responsibility than his attacking one and leave the attacking to the rest of them, though. That's what we think the team will be, or the potential combinations for the team. Let us know what you would go with if you were Rob Edwards. Obviously, you don't have the sort of information that he has, but we've given you an insight into how the squad's looking. And obviously, if you reply to this after Tuesday afternoon when Rob does his press conference, you might find a surprise attendance, that Mads or someone is going to be risked. And he probably wouldn't admit it anyway, would he, even if he is going to be risked? But the fact he wasn't on the bench on Saturday would tell you that he is still a fair distance away, wouldn't it?
He said he was out on the grass, but that doesn't mean he's in the full session training. He's just not stuck in the treatment room.
He said he was on the grass. It made him sound like it was a horse, didn't it? Having a nice little nosh on a snack before he goes off racing. Yeah, tough game.
It's going to be the toughest. Obvious reasons because of where they are and the players they've got. There were no mugs the last time in the championship. It was just they got absolutely outdone on a wave of emotion. But then again, so did Watford at the weekend, didn't they? It was a wave of emotion and wonderful football. You replicate some of that on and off the pitch, then it could be a lot closer.
Yeah, I really do think the crowd have got a big role to play here. This is a young side. Yes, they'll have that fearlessness of youth, but they will also quickly be intimidated as well. And you only have to look back to the last time when Diallo came down here. He shit himself after 5 minutes, and that was the end of him. And
nobody hit the Sunderland players though. Eh?
Don't do that. Don't do that. But that kind of thing. And he was playing for Man United, so he'll have experienced some hostile atmospheres playing in Europe and things like that. And he wilted. So I'm sure kids with not so much experience can do as well. The boys probably need us more on Wednesday night than they did on Saturday, and they needed us on Saturday. But the ones that do go out there, the chances are we're going to have some players playing square pegs in round holes. Don't be down on them. If they make a mistake, to be expected. They're being asked to do a job that is not their primary responsibility, but they're doing it for the team and for all of us. And I'm sure they'll do their best. Hashi was absolutely fine on Saturday. I'm sure he will be again. But again, he played 45 minutes on Saturday for the first time since pre-season. He's going to need some time to get up to speed and everything else. So yeah, just get right behind the boys if we possibly can. And let's hope it's another one of those magical nights, and that for the second time in the best part of 17 months, the Sunderland fans go home disappointed on a Wednesday evening or midweek evening. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast, but we won't go without score predictions. Now then, Jimbo, here's the acid test to your loyalty. Luton versus Sunderland. You picked out a Luton win on Saturday. Do you pick out a Luton win on Wednesday night?
I'm going to try and curry favour with the footballing gods, to be honest. They were shining down on us all on Saturday. And if I play to their vain nature, and don't hate me for this, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 Sunderland win.
Traitor.
Win. I don't want to say it, but I'm just hoping that they hear me and they go the other way, because they don't usually like me that much.
We'll get you on the next series of the Traitors. That's what we should do.
I've got I've got my head-to-head scoreboard battle going on with you, which I'm 2 points ahead still, by the way. So sometimes you've got to think yourself.
I'll have to have Claudia Winkleman on the next podcast to enlist you for the next series of the Traitors. I'm not going that way. Do you know what? I still think everyone will be riding the wave of emotion of Saturday. The one thing we yet to reference that we really should have referenced is we played Saturday lunchtime. They played Sunday afternoon. That is a big difference in when these fixtures come. Boom, 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 boom. To have the better part of 30 hours preparation, and the fact that we've not had to travel and they've had to go to Hull, back to Sunderland, and then down to Luton. That is a tough ask for them. And they've lost at Watford. Sorry, but they're going to lose again. Simple as that. How are they going to lose? We can't keep a clean sheet with one central defender, can we? I mean, they're going to have an attack, aren't they? Which Watford didn't.
Yeah. This is why I've gone for what I've gone. I don't want to do it, but
you've mugged off our strike force. Just got them scoring. Just scored 3 goals for the first time since Bournemouth away.
I'm sorry, I don't want to say it, but it's the toughest of asks. It would have been a tough game anyway, but you'd feel confident after Saturday with the performance, but with no defenders, that's really hard. We've been here before, haven't we? But the fixtures could have been a lot kinder to us to this current predicament we find ourselves in.
Not no defenders, just defenders out of position.
Well, we've got the Colossus that is Mark McGuinness, which is good because he turned a corner against Watford. So fingers crossed. Mark, have another game like you did, please.
Indeed, yeah. We're still going to concede a goal though. Luton. When would the last time we got back-to-back clean sheets have been? I should really have researched this before we started recording this, but we're going way back into the annals of time.
Oh yeah, we know big time. God, you put it in the comments. Let us know, because we can't. Our memories don't stretch back that far.
And it was definitely the Championship. The last time if indeed it occurred that season, I'm sure Horvath must have kept back-to-back clean sheets, mustn't he?
Must have. Yeah, there's loads of 1-0s, wasn't there? Loads of them.
Indeed, this one's not going to be. Luton are going to win this one 2-1, and we're going to continue our march up the table. I've said prior to the Sheffield United game, Luton are better underdogs than they are favourites, although that went out the window at Bramall Lane, but it came back again on Saturday. It's going to ring true on Wednesday night. Let us have your score predictions. Not as long to get your score predictions into us, purely because the schedule is absolutely bonkers. I mean, whoever thought this schedule between the international break just gone and the next one needs to give their head a wobble, right? I know there's all this talk about players striking and no one really feels sorry for them. But seriously, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Friday, Wednesday, Saturday, when the hell are they supposed to recover?
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? We know this about the Championship. It's not the fancy dans of the European leagues that don't like it, but yeah, it is what it is, and we all knew the relentlessness of it I hope to have a bit more reinforcements for this game. It doesn't look like it's going to be, but we live in hope.
2-1 to Luton for me, 1-0 to Sunderland for the traitor, and let's have your score predictions. As always, 1 point for a correct result, 3 points for the correct score, and I promise by the time we do the Sunderland review, we'll have worked out however it is we can get a leaderboard into these podcasts. Don't exactly give us much time to do it, do they? That's the thing. Thanks very much for watching or listening, however it is that you've consumed this podcast and indeed the Watford Review podcast. They are coming at you thick and fast this week, and they will be doing so into November as well, where we have 2 more midweek games to come. So if you don't want to miss a minute of the ramblings of myself and Jimbo and the guests that we have on, do hit that subscribe button. We hit 300,000 views on our YouTube channel during the Watford Review podcast, which was absolutely fantastic. When you think we only started doing it regularly on YouTube at the start of the Premier League season, to hit that sort of number so quickly is absolutely fantastic. So our thanks to everyone who has viewed any of our podcasts.
We also had another milestone, didn't we? Posted saying that you
250th episode, but I think some of those were 2-parters, so we'll have to actually work out just exactly how many there are.
Anyway.
It was a nice one to be reminded of. But 300,000 views, fantastic.
Yeah.
We
Thanks
thank
very
everyone
much
for that.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's we love doing them, and thanks for watching them.
Indeed so, yeah. Thanks also to the Barber Club and the Lower Level in Luton for hosting our studio. Really, really appreciate your support, guys, particularly in this relentless period where we're basically using all of your amenities on a daily basis. Thanks also to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for all the designs that you see on set. If you have a ticket on Wednesday night, keep the decibels nice and high. And until next time, which will be the review of what we hope will be another magical night under those Kenilworth Road floodlights from Jimbo and myself, come on, you Hatters.
For me, it's the people and the spirit of the people as well.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people.